Welcome to Go Gettas podcast where we have a way to say today. We're going to be doing. I'm Colby.
And I'm the ghost with the most. But you can call me Fee.
There he is. There he is. It's all Beagle Gurgers.
Yeah, it's a Flinglehopper.
Bangle Stank. Love him.
Bringle Bang.
With his checkered plaid suit. Love that guy.
Oh, man. Straight out of the 70s, that one.
Made out of boogers.
His hair reeks of shit.
Yeah, that's a detail they don't get across in the movie. Is like anytime that he appears, people are like, oh.
Hey, what are you talking about? I'm a dead guy. Of course I smell.
Showtime, baby. Does smell like poop. Showtime.
That's how you really scare him. Fucking. God damn it. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to our new look at us.
Look at how fucking handsome we are. I'm so damn tall. I feel tall.
Yeah.
In IRL, I could never look eye with Colby. So,
no, there's a small box. It's an unspoken small box.
I told that to Colby. I was like, I like to imagine that I'm standing on a box, right? So,
yeah.
I'm just on a small platform.
Fee on his literal soapbox right now.
I'm always on my soapbox. I'm always speaking from the heart, from the gut, dude. I'm fucking out here.
Shooting from the hip.
Got the big iron on my hip. Always loaded, always talking. And you know what? You're always here to hear it. Yeah, it's been a really good couple of weeks, maybe a month for us. Maybe in general, you know. We've been doing good in TikTok. We just recently hit over 100 subs over on YouTube.
Damn.
I know.
100 smackaroonies, baby.
101 to be exact. I'm horny for that.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what the word to say. Excited.
Okay. I can't remember the word excited.
For a minute, I was like, the word erotic wanted to come out of my mouth, and I'm like, that is not the word. Excited. I'm excited.
Yes.
God, I'm fucking scatterbrained right now, like everywhere.
Yeah. Here's the thing. One thing that may be contributing to that is because I have moved across the country, it's now like hard to get our time. Like we used to record long about, and you'll notice this if you're watching the live stream. We used to go live long about 9 p.m. Central. Yeah. But unfortunately, that would be around 7 p.m. on the West Coast, and I can't do that. I have to come in sort of like later at night after the small child is down. And so now it's like, well, when do we do it? And so we're trying out the afternoon. It's either going to be that or 11 p.m. Central, and I don't think anyone wants that.
Well, honestly, 11 for me isn't so big a deal. It would be 9 for you, but it'd be 11 for me. Mm-hmm. As long as it's my day off, I don't care. But afternoon's fine for me too, because I generally don't do anything.
Yeah, listen, we got these. It's pristine afternoon vibes. Like this, like we're going into we're clocking in. We're telling the boss, hey, we have a podcast to go to.
I just look at the mirror and I'm like, I'm gonna do this podcast, and you're not gonna do a damn thing about it.
And then I get all sad at myself. Say, oh man,
come on, man, why are you gonna do this? So yeah, we are upgrading. We're upgrading our stuff, and it's so funny when I tell Colb, I'm like, "Hey, man, I want to upgrade our stuff. What do you think about that?" And he's like, "Yep, go for it."
Yep. Cool.
No insights, no nothing. He does. I'm like, I'm gonna look for an artist, and I'm gonna upgrade our stuff. I'm gonna get us new background. What do you think about that? Cool, man.
Cool. Yeah, the thing is, a pretty good portion of the time, you will send me those messages in the middle of the workday, and I, like, yesterday, my, like, so because I'm moving, because like we're still unpacking, like I'm still trying to get used to like the situation, and like my sleep schedule is really weird. Um, I'm still very much in like my brain feels like it's only operating at like 60% capacity, and but I still have the exact same amount of work to do. So when I get a question like that, or basically anything, like if my wife is like, "Oh, what were you thinking that we would like do for dinner this week?" I look at it, and if I have the wherewithal, I will reply, "I'll think about that later." If not, I will reply, "Cool." And then that's that, baby. One thing checked off. Cause like, I'm like, if I stop to focus on this, if like one of the questions you asked was like, yeah, what colors are you thinking? And I was like, fucking, I don't, shirt colors? I don't know. What colors are there?
Well, the reason I said that is because we have like this lo-fi, like
Mm-hmm.
neon vaporwave aesthetic, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Do you want to keep it that way?" Because I don't mind. I think it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make us a background to put us in, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I want to get your input on it. I'm like, I don't like to. I know it is both of our channels, but I don't like to be the only one to at least have a say in it. I want you to have it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. And the thing is, um, like that's about the level of like thought that you are going to get for probably another month. Like I've lived in this house now for, I think this is week 4.
Yeah.
um and I'm looking around my office right now. I've currently still got like 11 boxes that are packed up.
Yeah.
And that's just my office. So like there's a bunch of other stuff to do as well. And the whole thing, I'm hoping, praying that I'm done doing this by the time Super Mario RPG comes out. That way I can really just like unwind at the end of a day and play Super Mario RPG instead of being like, well, I know I should go upstairs and unpack the box with the printer in it. So yeah, I like
Yeah,
it. It sucks. I do not have the brain power to do anything.
we did talk about this last episode, but man, moving sucks. I think I've been in this house for about a month and a half now. Since
Mm-hmm.
September, it's October. At the
Mm-hmm.
end of October, so it's going on 2 months.
Yeah.
I understand. Like there's a box in my room I unpacked, but I can't pick myself up to go and throw it away.
Yep.
So like, and like there's still boxes in storage that we have to get out and bring over,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, I'd rather do anything else. I'm like,
Yeah.
everything's already the way I like it now. I'm like, whatever's in storage is just trash. Just
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, is there a way you could cut off my pinky toe instead, and then like I don't have to do the boxes? Is that okay?
yeah, exactly. Like I just, oh god, anything else. But it doesn't matter. I have more time than you for my brain to sit and recharge, because when I go to work, I don't do anything but just think about these things. I'm just
Yeah. Yeah, the way that I imagine your workday goes is you show up, you're like, "All right, yesterday I didn't quite finish catching up on this anime, so I'm going to spend an hour doing that. All right, now I'm all caught up, everything's good. Okay, now I'm going to take a nap." Now, 3 hours later, I'm going to wake up, and now I'll start being creative. I'll think about stuff. All right, cool. I did that for half an hour. Time for video games for 10 hours.
dude, no, like legit. I during the day, because my schedule flipped from daytime to nighttime. But when I work during the day, I can't genuinely sleep, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's daytime, there's people there. Although the other day I didn't get any sleep because I was playing this game, and I didn't stop playing until 12:30, because like it's a 3 hour game, and I didn't know that when I started. I was only playing just I was gonna get in bed. I'm gonna play a game
Mm-hmm.
for like an hour and kind of get tired and go to sleep. But as I kept playing, I just kept burning through it, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I have to be close to the end. I'm gonna beat this game.
Yeah, you're like,
So
there's no way this keeps going.
and the thing is, I didn't even like it. I it just I was playing. I was like, oh, this game sucks. And I'm like, but I'm beating it. I got to see this through. And as I'm going, I've up. There's like no up like skill trees or anything or upgrades. There's one attack literally, and like nothing else. No equipment. It's the game Ravenlock, and it's basically like a side-scrolling hack and slash. Like they wanted it to be like a roguelite, but it's the barest of bones roguelite. Right? So there's
that's unfortunate.
There's like I guess quote unquote a dodge button that like lets you dash and gives you like an iframe or something, but like not really. There's a block button that I never used the entire game because I didn't need it.
Hell yeah.
And an attack button that you can't. There's like no iteration to it. It's just one attack. You can't charge it. There's no different weapons. And all you do is whenever you beat an enemy, you get EXP, and then you get that EXP, and you upgrade your attack, your sword level, which does more damage. And yeah, all the bosses and stuff are fucking. They suck. I think I've only died. I died once to a boss, and then never again. Even the final boss. I didn't die. I just ran into. I clipped into the middle of it and just attacked it until it died, and then it was like you beat the game.
What if it's not that the game is easy, but that you're an elite gamer?
I played it on hard mode too.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe you just maybe you're just the best.
Yeah, I thought about that, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, I had considered that, and it does seem pretty likely. You know what? It is because I'm good.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it out loud. I didn't want to seem presumptuous, but, you know, when you're this good, it shows, you know.
Yeah, you know what? At the beginning of the game, they make you take a picture of your balls and send it to them on Discord, and then I don't know. Like after that, I just started winning. So I guess I've just got the biggest balls of all time. So it's just I don't know.
Each time you
just
beat
my life.
Each time you beat up a boss or you go to a different level, your balls just expand.
It's crazy. It sounds like an episode of Black Mirror.
Oh no. I'd hate that. I would hate that if I was like so good that my balls were just getting it's just painful. Like
God.
I had to play with no pants on. Like, do they ever go down? No, they just get bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. You stop playing the game and like you're like, okay, that'll be it. I don't have to do it anymore. I'm already in enough trouble. And then just like after a couple of days, it just feels like they're on fire. And you're like, oh God, oh no, is this part of the game? And like you log in and it's like, oh, to extinguish your balls, please continue playing. You're like, no!
You have to beat the game before your balls explode. That's if you die in the game, you die in real life. Just
oh God! If you die in the game, your balls die in real life. You have two lives because you have two balls.
Oh God, that's a fine print. Fucking stupid. That was a short horror story for you for this Halloween.
Yeah, boo! It's Halloween. Welcome to our Halloween episode. Boo!
That's my vampire.
Yeah, to be fair, at this point, I can't do any other vampire except for the Count from Sesame Street because he's just always here.
One beating, two.
Yeah,
it's so like iconic, right? But like vampires don't like really have noises they make, right? Besides, like a cat. Just
yeah, vampires known to purr for sure.
Not like purr, but like when they bare their fangs, or like they see a cross, like the fucking Bela Lugosi. They bring out the cross and they're like.
Oh yeah. They hiss for sure.
Yeah,
that's an iconic vampire thing. Did they do that in Twilight? Where they like.
I,
I think they didn't they? Like when,
well,
like before they started playing vampire baseball, they were like,
well, like if I'm thinking about Twilight, right?
mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think hard, but like I'm thinking like when they're standing like out normally, they're moving like their shoulders like seductively, right? Like they're kind of hunched over, like, oh fuck, I'm a vampire. Like
Oh man, to be fair, in
like
lore, and I don't know if this is just a recent thing, but all vampires are ready to fuck, like always. I don't know if this is a historical thing, but
yeah,
yes.
but they get down to like weird sex, like
Yeah.
it,
Well,
like
they're so old, like you can't. I'm sure. Here's the thing: is I'm sure they go in circles. I'm sure that like they do, like I don't know, 40 or 50 years of like, yeah, I'm getting like real deep into very specific kinks, and then at some point they're like, I guess I've just got to reset and just have like monogamous vanilla missionary sex, and that's the hottest thing commitment. Oh boy, that gets my vampire boner going for sure.
ooh, I'm about to stake someone with this vamp cock. Fucking- yeah, like I don't know why, like it's just pictured that like in like a lot of vampire lore that there's just vampires just constantly orgying,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, why? If I'm a vampire, like, yeah, I guess that would be cool, like every once in a while to have like a vampire orgy, but like,
Sure, every month.
yeah,
Oh,
just
too much. Barely
can't
done cleaning up from the last one.
can't I just have like a regular vampire girlfriend and just have regular vampire sex?
Ah, that's the thing. I'm telling you, if you've got this vampire girl, if she recently turned, you're probably okay. If she's like 400 years old, like there, number one, there's no new moves you can pull on her, right? Like she's seen every move.
Yeah,
All of the moves have been done to her and with her, and she
I,
has probably done all of the moves to someone else. So at this point, this is like, yeah. Like this is a fun thing for me, but you're not gonna surprise me. I'm not gonna come away from this like, ooh,
well,
whoa, look at you.
well, what if like because okay, so I don't know how like far their transformation goes, but vampires can transform into like I think wolves and bats.
I think it's just bats.
I
I
s-
think you're thinking of werewolves.
no. Like I don't know what it is, but I believe vampires can transform into wolves
I don't know why you believe that. The thing is, as
and
as
vampires.
Max Landis famously said in his Death of Superman video, vampires are whatever
Ooh,
you want them to be. They have
okay.
whatever weaknesses you want them to. So sure, maybe there's like one piece of lore that you were like that you latched onto in which it was like, oh yeah, vampires, yeah, they suck blood, they turn into bats, they turn into wolves, they die in the daylight, and you're like, wait, go back one, and they're like, yeah, everyone knows that, they just turn into dogs because that's kind of my thing actually.
Okay. I looked it up. According to
hmm
the Lexington County Library, uh
Oh yeah, the
it's
leading source on vampires for sure. Yep.
it's the top Google search. Vampire it's not just bats. Vampires can also turn into rats, owls, moths, foxes, and wolves.
That's a weird list. Like, can they turn into slugs? Can they turn into other people? Like,
Maybe they can turn into Mr. Smoke or swarms of insects.
oh God, I thought okay, you said mist or
Yeah,
smoke. I heard
yeah.
Mr. Smoke, and I was like from Mortal Kombat or
That's Mr. Smoke was my father. Just smoke.
yeah, just smoke is fine.
Yeah, so I guess they could just transform into things at will.
Just anything.
Basically, except not like a cross or garlic. Just don't.
They can't turn into God. Imagine that. Like, imagine turning into garlic and just all of the cells in your body like fighting themselves. Like you're just burning from the inside out.
Would if they turned into garlic, would they rot or would they just die and just be a garlic corpse, a bulb of garlic corpse that you can then cook.
I don't know. Like, I imagine you just disappear, right? Like,
yeah, it would turn to dust, right?
Yeah, I guess, or smoke or whatever.
So, okay. So, like, they say garlic is like a vampire weakness, but like, I've never seen anyone kill vampires with garlic. Just kind of hurt them.
Yeah. It seems to be like a deterrent, like a I don't know. Like, imagine if you and I, like, if you came over to my house, or let's say I came over to your house. This is very. We're getting into getting specific now.
Are you a vampire? Or?
Yeah, I'm Van Helsing, as we all know.
Okay, but I have the hat. Am I a vampire?
Yes, you're a vampire.
Okay.
So imagine, in this scenario, I'm the vampire hunter, you're the vampire, but imagine we're both regular people. If I wanted to do the same thing to you that garlic would do, I imagine if I walked in with a big, fresh, warm dog turd, it would probably do the same. That's what I'm imagining. You're like, oh, get away! Oh, go! No, stop!
I'm like, oh, get the leg! Get out of my house!
And I'm like, I'm holding it with a plastic bag, but I keep like almost throwing it at you. You're like, stop it!
I'm like, oh God, just get garlic at this point. I don't want this.
Yeah, I imagine it's kind of like that.
I can transform into anything, but I can't get clean.
I can't. Oh God, I can't go into the shower. No.
Well, oh man, that's another thing. Vampires can't cross bodies of water.
Yeah, in some lores, it's like, because a running body of water usually, because it sort of like symbolizes the river Styx, and they can't like go across that. But like, how big is a body of water? Is it a puddle?
Yeah.
Is it a continuous thing? Like, because as with all horror movie like rules, if you extrapolate the rules out enough, they stop making sense, because it's like, oh yeah, well, you just like put a vampire on an island. Well, it's like, well, vampire then can't cross the ocean, can't cross a stream, can't cross a creek. Like, wherever the vampire turned, they're basically just in there forever, unless it gets dry, maybe?
Put them on an island.
What about underground rivers? Do those count?
No, because you can't see them.
Oh, so the vampire doesn't know to be scared. That makes sense.
Oh, so if he can cross the river as long as he keeps his eyes closed.
Yeah. Keeps his eyes closed and like has like earplugs in. So they're like, nope, I'm just walking through my regular living room. Doop doop doop. Wow, it sure is wet in my living room. Boop boop boop.
God. So like, vampires have weird rules. They can't go out in the sunlight. I could get behind that one.
Yeah, sure.
Stake through the heart will kill them. I mean, but like, that don't kill anything.
Sure.
But like, I guess because they're like immune to damage, right? They can just regenerate. So I guess it has to be their heart.
Yeah.
Garlic is a deterrent. Holy water,
and I think in large quantities can probably kill a vampire. It's like acid. Like, if you throw a vampire into like a blessed pool, then like, sure, they probably die.
Well, yeah. I guess like demons too, because they're like pseudo demons, right?
Yeah, they're hot demons.
Yeah, they're like the higher echelon of demons.
Yeah,
because it's a disease, vampirism, because you get bitten, you get transferred the vampire disease.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can eat normal food anymore, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, depending on the lore, sometimes it's like, oh, I ate this and immediately threw up. Like, I can't eat. The only thing that I can do is drink blood, but like, blood of humans is like the best blood, but like virgin human blood is somehow better. Ooh. And like, it's such a trope to be like, yeah, you know what? He's one of the good vampires. He only gets blood from the blood bank, or from he eats rats or some shit.
He drinks pig's blood.
Yeah, pig's blood. Yep.
He buys it from the butcher shop. I don't know if you remember this movie. My Best Friend is a Vampire.
I don't know. Wait, no. Sorry. Wait. Is that what Jim Carrey? No. Okay.
This is a movie from the 80s where this kid gets bit by a vampire woman, and he doesn't realize, but he becomes a vampire. And so I want to say it's Liam Neeson, who is like one of the vampire like head guys, is like, hey, you're a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
So now these are your rules, and he gives him a rule book, and he's like, you gotta live like this way, or else you're gonna die. And there's this guy chasing, this scientist chasing you,
Yeah.
and they go through all the rules, but like, he's like, I don't want to drink blood. It's gross. So he's like, well, here, go to this butcher shop, and they sell blood by the quart. So like in like a teacup, not a teacup, like the bottle that
Mm-hmm.
like you know how milk comes in a quart little bottle when you buy it from the store.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It comes in a thing like that, and
Okay.
now that's how he lives his life, just drinking blood. And now he has magic. They also have mind control. They have
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The what is it called? Like the glamour. They
yeah,
like
or
they
telekinesis.
yeah.
So
So I just looked at that movie. The star of it is the guy who played Wilson on House, so that's cool.
okay, yeah.
And not Liam Neeson, just some other white dude.
He looked like
Just
Liam
some
Neeson.
other old white dude. And I will say, so the character that you're talking about, his name is Modoc.
Yeah, Modoc.
Modoc recommends that Jeremy should drink pig's blood, B negative specifically. But here comes IMDb blowing this movie the fuck out of the water. Turns out pigs don't have type B blood, only A and O. Pew, 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 get fucked, movie.
You, uh, but I love that movie. Such a good movie.
God, I also, I'm not going to read this entire review.
Yeah, don't.
But the title of this review is, it's no The Lost Boys, or Fright Night, or Vamp, but it's fun enough. Damn, okay.
That doesn't mean anything.
It's like, I don't know.
It's not
You're
any
bored.
of these movies, but it suffice if you want to watch a vampire flick.
Okay, so one of my favorite like implementations of vampires and like vampire lore is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy is just like one of those shows that has a bunch of a cool lore in it that I like a lot. One of my favorite things though is so in the spin-off show Angel, the end of the season, I think, basically like one of Angel's allies gets tricked into putting him into like a metal sealed coffin and sinking him to the bottom of the ocean.
Oh,
and
JoJo style.
Yeah, and so it's not like he's not in a coffin, he's not like floating in a chest like Dio. My man is just down there and just like no air or anything, no like he can't do anything, he can't eat, he's just sitting there withering away to death. And I always thought like whenever I was presented with that concept, I was like, oh man, that is a pretty like sick torture method for a fucking vampire. It's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna put you down here and leave you here. Like, have you heard of the snail that can kill you? Have you heard of like that bargain?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like that, where for the audience at home, the deal is this: you can have $1 billion, but there's gonna be a snail that spawns, and if that snail ever touches you, you die instantly.
Yeah.
And he's always moving toward you, always.
But only as fast as a snail.
Only as fast as a snail, but like snails are small. So you know, if you're like hiking in the woods, snail touches you, you die. And this seems like a pretty like everybody is like, oh yeah, you know, how do you deal with the snail? I don't know, like living in fear, but like I feel like you just get close to the snail, you put it in a box, and you sink it to the bottom of a lake. Like,
yeah, right? It's not a magic snail.
Yeah, it's the snail isn't like incorporeal. It's not a ghost.
Just have someone that doesn't have the death inflection from it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just have someone pick it up, like put it in a safe and sink it into the Atlantic.
Yeah, this doesn't have to be that hard. Just sink it down there with Angel, right? And it'll be fine.
And even if it does for some reason come out of the box, and it'll take years, like decades.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, if like you're just like in your fucking 60s and you're just like, oh god, thank god I got rid of that snail, and then what do you know? In come the fucking snail in your door. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You just get someone to do the same thing, pick it up and put it in a box, and then just go and throw it in the ocean again.
Or alternatively, what if it's serendipity, right? Like
Yeah.
you make this deal, you're like 20 years old, you have $1 billion now, like you have somebody sink the snail into the ocean. Ah, thank God, it's all over. Now you're 75 years old. Your health is failing you. You've had all of your money try to research how to keep you alive and it's not working, and you're in pain a lot, and you're like, I don't know what to do. Everything hurts so bad. And then you open the door and there's a fucking snail there. Maybe that's the time when you just sit down, you look at it and you go, you know what, it's time, old friend, and you just touch it and die immediately.
The snail waited for you to get like this feeble.
Yeah.
And he's just like, hello, old friend. And he comes
Yeah,
in.
what a kind snail you are. Come in, have some. What do snails eat? Bananas? I don't know.
Some snails do. Just you invite it in, and you're just like, I'm ready. And like you just touch it.
Yeah, it's just a long conversation between you and the immortal snail. You're like,
yeah, you're
well,
like,
for the past 40 years, I've been divorced twice. Turns out, money doesn't make you good at relationships.
you see, you sit across, and he's just sitting. He's in another chair, and you're like,
In another full-size chair, just sitting there looking like,
and you're like, I used to be afraid of you. Just have this very profound conversation.
Yeah, this is for sure like a one-man show. This is like somebody has put this on Broadway and has been like, has invited 60 or 70 people to it and has gotten next to no reviews because everybody was like, I don't get it.
I don't foresee this being like more than a one-act play. Like,
Right?
you can't extend this more than one act, because, or I guess two. The first act is you. I don't know. Who is this person making the deal with you to have a snail chase you?
God, I mean, it can't
Dude.
be this. If the snail talked, it's probably the snail. If the snail doesn't talk, it's got to be just some guy in a top hat who looks like he could be the devil. It's got to be that, right?
If the snail talked, you find him and he's like, "Hey, I can make your dreams come true, but I'm gonna chase you." Just
Yeah. I want a taste for blood. You're like, wow, you seem kind of slow. And like, as your friend is picking it up and putting it in a safe, he's like, I'll get you. I'm going to get you one day.
one day, always look behind your shoulder as he's sinking to the bottom of the ocean. Yeah. I'll be there. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow. Just fucking.
Yeah. But one day.
God, that's so good. Like I said, but like this movie starts out almost like a horror with that, but then like it's a like a, not like a family film, but like a coming of age story.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rest of the movie has nothing to do with the snail until the very end. And here's the thing, they don't show the snail in the previews, so when you get into the movie,
Yeah. God, you're like, oh yeah, this looks like kind of like an intense drama, like a family drama. Yeah, and then the first 5 minutes they set up the plot, and you go, what the fuck am I watching?
It's one of those movies that, like, man, you can't spoil to anyone, right? Because every reviewer, you're gonna have to be like, listen, you can review the movie, but leave the snail parts out. Because, like, it ruins the movie for first-time watchers, right?
God, yes.
So, you want that snail to be a surprise. Because at first, he's the villain, he's the antagonist, but at the end, you're wishing for sweet release as you have a friendly conversation with him. You're like an old friend coming back to your life.
God. I mean, this sort of segues us actually to like, what was your, when growing up, because like I feel like whenever you get older and you like are an adult, you acquire tastes that are like, oh, this is like my favorite horror movie to watch, like ironically. This is like, this one is great for this reason. But like when you're a kid, horror movies in general, like, oh, it's scary, it's crazy, all this blood and stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
What was like your favorite horror movie whenever you were growing up?
Okay, well, man, I guess I never had that. Not favorite, but like I never had that like gotcha of like, oh, this is so scary. Because I grew up in like horror, right? My brother and like my cousins and stuff, we would like get together. I think I've talked about this before. We would just watch scary movies. Like they used to be on TV. We used to rent them. Uh and I just never got like why they were scary. Like I knew they were fake. The only movie that like really scared me, and I don't know if I've told this story before, was Chucky for a while.
Really?
Child's Play, I think like 1 or 2. And the movie didn't scare me, but it made me not want to watch the movie again because I had a good guy, not a good guy, but like my buddy, right? Which was like what the good guy from the movie was based on.
Okay.
And I had one of those, and my brother and my cousin, I was at his house and I had the toy, and my brother was just like, hey, why don't you, I don't know how he talked me into this, and I could just vaguely remember him being like, hey, why don't you show me some like fighting moves on this doll. And I was like, okay. And I was doing it, and then they were just like, that doll is like has the spirit of Chucky in it. Then they locked me in the room with it, and I got really afraid.
Oh my god.
I was like, oh, yeah! And then I made my parents like put the doll in the garage, and I never saw it again.
Oh my god.
It's yeah. So
damn,
they scared the shit out of me. But I could still see the movie as long as the doll wasn't there. But Child's Play and like the movie Dolls or the movie Puppet Master kind of made me afraid of like dolls IRL.
Yeah, I get that. I actually, Puppet Master was my favorite horror movie growing up because like I don't think I ever watched Puppet Master 1.
Yeah.
And so like by the time I started watching Puppet Master, it was already like the puppets are the good guys and they're killing little demons.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, this is sick.
Well, that wasn't just a Puppet Master. That was a crossover, right? So,
there were a number of times in which the Puppet Master puppets either like killed bad people or killed demons. So it wasn't just the crossover with the other like Dolls movie.
Yeah.
They also fought demons just regular. And so like that was my first exposure to these puppets was like, oh, they're like Blade is a hero. I love this. Look at Drillhead,
dude,
just drilling his way through a man's balls or whatever he did.
Excuse me, like, that was Drill Sergeant. God.
Thank you.
You fucking troglodyte.
Fake fan.
I think,
but
my favorite was Pinhead, the big doll with the little head,
the huge dude. Yeah,
the huge dude.
Like that was so. I really liked Puppet Master. For me, there was only one horror movie that my parents like. I had to stop watching, and I told my parents that I had to stop watching it because I was scared, and that was Candyman. Oh. And I don't remember why. Like, it was the first scene in Candyman that, like, I think it was all the bees that came out of everywhere. I was like, oh, fuck. God.
The bees.
So I was really scared of the bees.
That's legit fear, you know.
Yeah, so I stopped. I just stopped watching it at the time, and was like, I guess that's it. Like, I'm never going to watch that again. And my parents from then on, it was one of those things where like you realize, oh, I fucked up. I shouldn't have told my parents that, because like I was like, oh man, I'm scared about this. And so from every time after that, if my parents were like, oh yeah, we're gonna go watch a scary movie, I'd be like, oh yeah, cool, I'm gonna watch it too. My parents would be like, I don't know, it's gonna be scary. And before that, they were like, sure, okay, like this kid doesn't get scared at scary movies, so it's fine. And then I get scared at one movie, and they're like, I don't know. It's like I had a nightmare about Beavis and Butthead in my dreams, chasing me with a chainsaw, trying to kill me, and I was so scared. I woke up and like was crying about it. I must have been like 7 or 8.
Yeah,
and like my parents heard that and went, "All right, you can't ever watch Beavis and Butthead again." Like, what? What are you talking about?
I think my family was the opposite because, well, like I said, I never really got scared at movies, but if like a movie bothered me, they would just be like, well, let's watch it again, just to, during the day so we could show you that it's not scary.
Okay.
I was like, okay. So,
all right. Yeah.
And it kind of worked. I was like, well, it's not that scary during the day. It's just like, bad things don't happen during the day.
See, that's like, okay. I told this story to someone recently, and I feel like I've probably told it on this podcast before, but when I was in college, I got really bad food poisoning from some dining hall fish.
Yeah.
And I got super sick from it, and I decided in order to not have a bad relationship with fish from that point on, I was just going to eat fish every day until I felt better. And this seems like that. This seems like that same sort of logic where you're like, oh yeah, you're really scared of it? Watch it again. Just keep watching it until you're not scared of it anymore.
Yeah, let's watch it again to see if you're really scared. Let's see what scared you and why. Fucking
Oh, you're really scared of like watching Chucky with this with this doll. How about this? We're going to buy you 20 of these dolls and you're going to sleep with them while the movie plays. That way you know that it's okay.
Yeah, and then when you wake up and you're not dead, it'll be fine, right? Just fucking...
Yeah, it's fine.
Nothing... After that, like, after the doll was gone, I got over it, and, like, nothing really scared me. I think I was scared once when I took a shower at my old house. Because, like, we had a standing shower, like, just one where only one person can fit, right? And the door closes.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know what movie I saw where it was, like, dead people's hands were coming out of walls. And, it was kind of, like, during the day. So when it's during the day, we have the window open. So I don't really turn the bathroom light on because the daylight comes through. And I was showering. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I got scared. Like, a hand was going to come out and grab me while I was showering.
Dude,
so, like,
that's the thing. Sometimes that just, you get scared for no reason and of nothing. It's like your brain starts to be like, oh man, like, because it'll start innocently enough where you're like, oh man, what if, like, did I leave the door unlocked? I hope I didn't leave the door unlocked. And then, like, you hear a noise and you're like, is it somebody breaking into my fucking house right now? Oh God, am I going to have to, like, fight someone right now? Is this a monster? Like, it starts to escalate to the point where you're like, okay, the Unabomber's outside my window for sure. I'm positive about it.
There's a guy outside with a knife. You go outside and you look and it's just like the local homeless guy. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, it's me. I don't have a knife. Well, I heard you in there. Like,
I wasn't listening or anything.
I don't sleep outside your window or nothing. My next door neighbor basically is this elderly couple.
Your new ones?
No, old ones.
Oh, okay. Very old.
They're basically this, like, elderly couple, and the son came over to my house and was like, hey, my mom just kind of hears stuff sometimes, and I just wanted to ask, do you ever walk on the grass between your two houses at like 2 a.m? And I was like, fucking what? No. Like, what?
Why would I?
What? And then that just puts it in my head, like, somebody out there? Am I sleeping through this?
Yeah,
Maybe.
now you're thinking it's in the back of your head. You're like, why would I do this? And then like you leave the conversation and like, but maybe she actually heard or saw something.
Yeah. What if this isn't a case of like, oh, I am scared because I'm an old woman in my own house and I heard a noise, and it's more. There's somebody that fucking comes out there at night for sure. I heard him.
It's really like ominous. Like he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. I'll go tell her that she's like senile or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just like, yeah, no problem. But then like now you install like a camera because you're just like, well, fuck, what if someone was there? Now,
yeah, what if?
Yeah, like how long has this been going on? Just no, that's creepy. That's scary.
Yeah, no thanks.
I'm not afraid because I'm in my hometown right now and like I'm okay. There's no one really like doing any misdeeds. There's some kids in the neighborhood and God, I'm so stupid. They were in my yard the other day, but like they were like on the edge of my yard because like their friend was in their yard across from or like behind us. And the friend was sitting on the ATV, but they were in our yard. But they were like kind of like looking at each other and talking, but then they would like look at me. But it's because I was going to work, so I guess they were just seeing what I was doing. And no one else was at the house. And they kept I couldn't hear them, but they kept like just glancing at me every once in a while. And I'm like, these kids gonna rob my house? Like
the thought doesn't even have to exist for that long. You're just like, are these kids gonna come fucking kill me right now?
and like nothing happened. It's just like I don't recognize these kids. Like because like you recognize people in your neighborhood, but like nothing came. They were just fucking dumb kids just chatting in the back of your house. But I had like one of those like boomer moments where like these kids are up to no good, I tell you.
Yeah.
and
they're gonna come in here for sure.
And I remember when like I was younger, I'm sure people thought that of like us if we were like out just chilling and talking.
Yeah.
Like so I like as I was leaving, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure they're just chilling. So like
I mean, you and me and Mike used to play a game called Fear based off of the hit MTV TV show.
Yeah.
And like that required two people to like go out into my neighborhood at night and hide clues in places.
Yeah.
And I'm positive that like at least my next door neighbors at the time would have known and been like, oh God, fucking, they're outside again at 2 a.m. putting out Easter eggs. Christ.
God, they're lighting a toy truck on fire again.
God, I fucking hate these kids.
I had no idea who your neighbors were when we would always be at your house because like I never saw them, not once in the years that we were at your house. I never seen them. It's like you lived in an abandoned part of a neighborhood with a good house.
Yeah, it was so it's really interesting because my next door neighbor was the mayor at one point.
I remember you telling me that, but like
yeah. And there was some controversy, I think, after he became the mayor. Basically, like, he was married to his wife. They had 2 kids, at least one. And there was some controversy that got sprung up where he left the house that was next door to us because I guess he cheated on his wife with someone that worked at his pharmacy. And so he went to go and like be with his mistress and like left his ex-wife behind. And so his ex-wife just lived in the house next to us. And we were like, ooh, I don't know what hot goss this is.
They would just sit on their old fucking widow's wharf and just stare blankly into the
yeah.
Every once in a while they say you could spot her walking the halls in her fucking black shawl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the house looked extremely abandoned all the way up until you could just see what looked like her ghost just Just it's because she got that ass, isn't it?
Everyone's deathly afraid of her, and in the house she's just crying all the time. Why wasn't I good enough? Just
God.
God, that's just like I said, that's just your imagination run wild, and like you said, it just takes just one random thing for your mind to be like, what the fuck's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
freak out.
Yeah, or you're like, you don't know who, like you don't know who your neighbors are or whatever, and you see them like I'm always worried about that whenever I'm doing like something weird at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like you and I were up late recording a podcast or whatever, and then like I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I have this big bag of trash that I have to put the trash out by the curb, and then I've got to like take all this stuff out to also put on the curb. And so like people just see me just like dragging a bunch of garbage bags from my garage at 2 a.m. and putting them by the curb. And I'm sure they're like,
why is he doing that so late?
What's in that bag? Why is he doing it so late? What's in that bag?
And they're just going to be like, they're going to talk to you the next day like, hey, saw you putting out the trash late last night. You know, and you're like, oh yeah, I just forgot to put it out, whatever. And they're like, oh, so what was it? Oh, just normal stuff.
No, just trash stuff.
And it's just like they're like real suspicious of you, but you're just like, yeah, whatever, like blowing it off. But now they have like they're peeking out at you, just like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah,
it's so
seems
funny.
Suspicious.
Very sus over there. We know all our neighbors. Well, we only have we have 3 of them, one on each side. One on each side and one across from us. And one across from us has been our neighbor for like 20 years plus probably. And they're really nice people. Like we know them by name. We have like their number and stuff. But it's so funny because the guy that lives across the street, his name is Johnny, and it's like something loud. If something loud happens, like a bang, like a car backfire, like maybe it's something sounds like a gunshot or whatever. It's so very like small town for you to come out to your porch and be like, "What was that?" Right?
Yeah. Hey.
Because like I know that happened a few weeks ago. Like a big loud noise happened, and then everyone in the neighborhood. My mom said she went out to the porch. It was late at night. And he came out onto his porch too, but he had a gun in his hand. and he was like, "Do you hear that?" And she was like, "Yeah, but I don't know what it was." And he was like, "Okay." And he just went back inside.
It's like, "Yeah, I don't know what it was either, but I'm ready to kill it."
So like, and it's so funny because like he comes out for like just anything that's loud. Like I know my sister's boyfriend, he brought a shit ton of fireworks. And they were popping them, and it's the off season, of course. So I think it was like at 3 a.m. because that's when he was coming back from Indiana.
Oh my god!
And he was
no
like,
fucking shot. You guys actually set off fireworks at 3 a.m. You dicks.
I didn't, and I told him not to. I was like, it's 3 a.m. He's like, just come on, pop one with me. I'm like, it's a weekday. I'm like, people gotta work. I'm like, yeah. I gotta work. And he was like, okay, but like, I guess I must have been dead to the world because he got there and he went and he popped the firework, like a fire, not just a normal one that you put in the tube and it goes, boom, and then it fucking, psh. And God. I didn't hear anything. And I got up for work the next day or in the morning. I was like, I thought he was coming today. And I'm like, I thought he said he wanted to pop a firework. He said he'd wake me up. But I see an open package. I'm like, oh, I guess he just did it, and I didn't hear anything. I was fucking dead. And,
God.
And my mom said that the Johnny from across the street came out, and he was like, "What's going on?" And my mom was like, he just popped a firework. I'm sorry. Go back to bed.
It's just... And Johnny's like, sorry, he what?
He did.
Get this man out here so I can talk to him.
There are people. Look at me. There are people that go to work in the morning, and you are bothering us. Just, I'm sorry. Just.
Oh man, my bad. I didn't think so. Like,
I was just
I will say for like the modern day version of that, because like in a small town that totally makes sense. For like if you're in like a more populous area, because like I don't have any connection with my neighbors, and I am going to this time. I am bound and determined to like know who my neighbors are this time.
Have you seen them?
That's the thing is no, I haven't, or I have, but like I live in a dense neighborhood now, so I've seen them in their backyard from my backyard, and that's like a weird dynamic. Like I should go to their door.
Yeah. Did they come out and do that thing when you were moving in? Like you're moving in, they come out and they're like, "Hey, neighbor," or like they're just like looking at you from like the porch.
Man, I wish, because our friends also moved up here and we went to go visit them, and their next door neighbor was in the backyard doing lawn work, saw us, and then just walked over to the fence, like, "Hey, what's up? Who are you guys?"
Oh, fancy meeting you.
I was like, man, that would be nice if like that was as easy as it was to meet my neighbors. But now like I feel like I have to come over with like a sheet of paper that's like, "Hello, this is who I am. This is my phone number in case you need it."
By the way,
I'm not weird.
I can't come 100 feet within the school district.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just like, whoa.
But like, like if you're in a more populous area, there's always like either Facebook groups or Nextdoor is the other thing.
Oh yeah.
And I really need to get in one of those because recently, like this was at night. And I said my sleep schedule's been weird. It's been weird because I've been going to bed at like 10 p.m., which is crazy. So like 9:30 or something, we're like getting ready for bed. I'm downstairs, like cleaned up all of our stuff. I took the dog out to go to the bathroom, and then outside I hear this large explosion that's like far away, but it's a huge pop. And I'm like, man, did a transformer blow up or some shit? Like
it was the firework that they were popping at my house.
Yeah. I will admit the first thought that I had was like, ah, shit, this is Russia. Russia's coming in to bomb us, and this is the first time I'm gonna hear about it. We're getting mortared. But like,
I knew I couldn't trust Biden.
Yeah, goddamn you, Biden.
You turn into like a fucking hardcore ass Republican.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, God. There used to be a billboard on my way back home that was just like, "Dear Biden, stop buying oil from terrorists. Buy from Americans." It's like, what is this trying to say? What are you talking about?
Dear Biden, you suck.
Dear Biden. Yeah, that's the way you start off any billboard.
Dear Biden, I hate your stinking guts.
Mm-hmm.
like little rascals at him.
So 2 days later, I'm at the park and I hear another explosion, and I was like, is that another transformer blowing up? So I'm like, I've got to get into a Facebook group to be like, hey, anybody have a fucking, like, I'm not in those groups, my wife is, and so my wife comes to tell me, they're like, yeah, it turns like, so I don't know anything about the explosion, but I do know that someone recently got a dog, and that dog has been barking all the time, and one person in our group is like, I've walked around the entire neighborhood, and I know the dog is between one of these 8 houses. If it is your dog, I want to talk to you. Like, damn, son.
I want to talk to it. Bring the dog out.
Yeah, send the dog out. You won't, pussy.
Isn't there an app called, like, Neighbor or something?
Yeah, Nextdoor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just for like, neighborhood posting. But like the thing is, as always happens, like with any social media platform, you get sort of a reputation. Like Tumblr got this reputation for like, oh, I'm spacekin. And like Facebook gets this reputation for like, it's just boomers and like misinformation about COVID.
Yeah.
Well, Nextdoor is sort of like relatively famous for boomers. Boomers use Nextdoor a lot, and the reason why they use Nextdoor is to be like, this neighborhood feels unsafe. These people are doing unsafe or suspicious activity, and it's almost always like, when you boil it down, it's almost always, I'm an old person and saw a black person walking outside. That's what it always is.
I was say, I don't like the way you said these people.
Yeah, there's just some black dude who was walking in the neighborhood, and fucking this old boomer is like, I think there's a drug deal happening. You're like, shut the fuck up, God.
What's he wearing? A cardigan and slacks.
Yeah, yeah. He's walking away. It's about 4 p.m. He's walking from the direction of the local elementary school with a child. I think he's kidnapped him. What?
I think he's smuggling the child. I think the child's a drug mule. God damn. I don't know how, like, man, I'm gonna go visit you, like, in January or February. I've decided if that's fine.
Yeah,
but, like,
yeah.
I feel like if I do, I don't, like, look like I conventionally belong there, right?
The thing is, in our neighborhood, I don't know how we keep doing this, but, like, the past 2 houses, we've moved into a neighborhood in which it's primarily Indian people. like we must just keep moving into neighborhoods where it's like immigrants that are working at tech companies or something. Cause like the neighborhood that we moved into previously, like show up there, like our neighbors, like we have like 2 white neighbors and like one Asian neighbor, 1 black neighbor. So like a relatively diverse community. Same thing here where like we have a relatively diverse community, but there's a bunch of people that are like, oh yeah, just like, you know, dude wearing a turban, like a Sikh, like, you know, people wearing hijabi, like a lot of that in our neighborhood, which is great. But like, it just, I find it very funny that we ended up moving into effectively the same demographic neighborhood on accident. We're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. They're like, that guy's weird, but he's white. What do you
Yeah, he's white. The thing is, I did hear something that I was not expecting up here. Cause like, we went out to breakfast, like a couple weekends ago, and we're waiting for our table. We're just hanging out with our son, you know, a lot of people like of different races there. And just, a couple people that like a whole Indian family was there, and they were speaking, I'm not sure what language they were speaking, but
South Asian.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been, I don't know, anything. I don't know any of the Indian languages. Sorry. But like there was, and there was like an Asian couple that was speaking, I think Korean. And just out of nowhere, I hear Spanish, and I was like, excuse me, we're not in a place where Spanish usually exists. Hold on.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like, turns out that I underestimated how many Mexicans were up here. Like, whole Mexican family. And also, like, I had somebody come by to fix something with my AC. He was from Texas. And I was like, oh man, like, okay, you're from Texas. Where's the good tacos? And he's like, oh, there's this taqueria or this like small taco truck that's like actually outside of a gas station. It's right over there.
Wait.
Really good tacos. And I'm like, all right, now I'm hitting that inside track. Cause like we moved up here and it's like, oh, what's a breakfast taco? I don't know what that is. And so I'm like, yeah, I need to find a good taco because most of this shit up here is like Mexicali. It's like, oh yeah, this is like traditional Mexican food, but add avocados. And it's like, yeah, but like I want Tex-Mex. I want that cheese. I want that grease. Give me that fat.
Get flour tortillas, not these.
Flour tortillas, baby.
God,
I don't give a shit about tradition. Give me the good shit. Come on.
I hate that. Watching TV and seeing they're like, we made traditional like fish tacos or whatever. Mm-hmm. And they're in like the little taco holder thing and they're small and they're corn tortillas. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, Aaron Sanchez is one of the group. I'm like, you don't know shit about tacos. Come on.
God. God. Well, the thing is, like, it's all about like what region you're from. So I'm sure like, you know, maybe it's a Mexicali thing. I know that like corn tortillas are like the more traditional thing to do, but like, God, dog, like the best, like a homemade fresh corn tortilla can beat a flour tortilla. I'll admit that.
Sometimes. I'm with you there. It's just 9 times out of 10, it's not number one.
Yeah, literally every other scenario, though, flour's always going to win.
Yeah.
So, like, come on.
So, I want to ask, you ask your, what, like, handyman, right? Or what was he?
Yeah, air conditioner repair guy.
He Mexican?
Oh, yeah.
and you asked him where the best tacos were.
He was telling me he was. Yeah, listen,
Hey,
it sounds
listen,
bad when you say that.
listen, I see you're brown. Where the
We
tacos at?
both of us were from Texas,
we
and
locked eyes and we hooked them horns.
well, what I said, the way that this conversation happened, just to make sure that this is, you don't think that I'm super racist.
I gave him the traditional Mexican Texas greeting, "Orale se."
Yeah. I hit him with the "Hey vato." That's what I said. I said to him,
And the chin nod, like, "Hey."
Hey, no, I was like, yeah, we just moved here because I called him from a 361 number, and he's like, 361, that's down south, right? And I was like, yeah, that's Corpus. He's like, oh yeah, I used to live in Lubbock. I was like, yeah, I used to go to college there, so I lived there too. And he's like, yeah, it's crazy. Who are you rooting for in the, like, you think the Astros or the Rangers? And I was like, I don't know,
because I don't watch baseball.
And I was like, yeah, we moved up here, better weather and stuff. The only thing that we're worried about is like good like tacos, because like up here we know that like Asian food is good, and it is, it's incredible. Yeah. But like finding a place where I'm gonna get good tacos is gonna be hard. That is how I said it, and I did not ask him where to go. He was like, oh, we got good tacos up here. That's when I said, oh yeah, where?
Oh, okay. All right.
So I wasn't like, I didn't like, I was like, hey, here, stay right there for a second. And then I produced a piece of construction paper that was brown and was like, you are darker than this brown. I need to ask you your opinion on tacos, good sir.
You pulled out like the Family Guy color sheet, and you're like, yeah, you're the perfect person to ask, sir. Where are the tacos? Where are the tacos? Where are you hiding?
Listen, I know you know where the tacos are at.
Listen,
it's just like that episode of South Park where they're like, yeah, Token, go get your bass. And he's like, I don't have a bass. They're like, look in your attic. You for sure have one. You're black. And then he comes back with a bass guitar. Yeah. It's like that. Where you're like, where's the best tacos? And they're like, I don't know. Well, I guess there is this one place. Ah!
But like, I guess that would be the best person to ask, because like, I was going to ask you before you went into the story, I'm like, have you found them tacos?
That's the thing. Like, it's, I don't know. It's
not a Mexican thing more than it's a Texas thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a Texican thing.
It's a Texican. I found, okay, so this is, I found out that I'm part white on my mom's side.
Oh, no. Rip.
Don't. My mom is half white on her mom's side.
Oh.
So I got a little bit of that spiceless life in me.
Yeah. Yeah, every once in a while you eat a salted pretzel and you go, ooh, a little spicy.
I got that saltine in my blood. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you'd say for a white person, but I figured that out today, and I was like, oh, makes a lot of sense, Mom. No wonder I like watching anime, and I hate fucking God, what's a like a stereotypical Mexican thing? I hate dancing the cucaracha.
Yeah. And I hate the cumbia. I hate it.
Well, I mean, everyone likes the cumbia, so, but no, I don't want to say that makes sense, but like, it's weird, right? Because like the way in the area that we grew up, like it's very like densely populated with Mexican people, and white people are the minority in our town, even though they own everything.
Yes.
In our town, but I grew up in a way that's not traditionally Mexican. Yes, I did, but I don't act like a traditional Mexican would, I guess. Because I act very much like some suburban guy who likes playing video games and watching anime. So my parents always thought I was weird.
Yeah. Definitely not a... The way in which you grew up is definitely non-typical for people that are in our town, at least. Like, it was very rare to find anybody that was into anime beyond Dragon Ball Z. Because I will say, Dog, if you were a boy at all, like if you were boy adjacent when Dragon Ball Z was airing, you knew Dragon Ball Z. You fucking knew it.
I would say that makes you more of a Mexican because Dragon Ball Z is big in Mexico with everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone. It's like because I remember when Super was airing, we probably talked about this before, but when Super was airing, they aired that in like bars on the TV because everyone was watching it. When the Tournament of Power was going on.
Hell yeah.
Fucking that shit went crazy over there.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I found out that out today while I was in the HEB, and I was like, that's fun. Maybe I should do a ancestry test.
Yeah. Here's the thing that I will say. And the reason why I don't think I'm ever going to do any amount of like ancestry or DNA testing. It's because whenever you give your DNA to a place that's like 23andMe or whatever, you know, they give you a lot of cool information like, oh yeah, your lineage is whatever. You've got 20% German or whatever. And,
oh no.
Well, they can also give you like markers for like, oh yeah, you have a high chance of getting Alzheimer's. You have a high chance of like contracting this disease. And all that stuff is great.
You're going to become a hypochondriac or something?
Well, no. What it also does is based off of your DNA and who you're related to, like your DNA gets added to a database. And so if your DNA is close enough to like, oh yeah, we have the DNA of this murderer, but we don't know who they are. Like, I think that like every once in a while, like if there's a murderer that hasn't been caught and they don't know who it is, they just run the DNA through these databases and then they'll find like, oh, it's like a relative of this person. Because that's how the Golden State Killer got caught.
Oh shit.
It's like the Golden State Killer, they had DNA from this person and it turned out that he was a cop, which is why it was like easy for him to hide. So apparently like his niece or something, like one of his more distant relatives, like did one of those 23andMe DNA tests. Yeah. And sure enough, the DNA popped up and was like, fucking, you're like 2 degrees of separation away from the Golden State Killer. And so they like went, like, they started using that as a starting point and were like, yeah, found him. He's right there. So like, that's the thing that I'm worried about is like, I'm going to get the test and be like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm really glad to know about my ancestry. And then 3 months later, someone's going to show up and be like, yeah, so your dad murdered a bunch of people in the 80s. And I'm going to be like, what?
You're like, well, what do you want me to do about it? Like,
I mean, now you get to go to jail.
Well, I don't want to go to jail. Fucking turn
what if I said no?
What if I said please? Just no.
Come on.
I don't want to do it now, I guess, then. I don't really want to know. Well, I kind of want to know, but like, but they're going to be like, hey, what were you on this night? I'm like, probably at work or sleep. Like, yeah. I'm like, do you have any witnesses? I'm like, well, like, at my mom? I don't know. They're like, well, we noticed that every morning at 4 a.m. you leave your house. I'm like, to go to work.
Yeah. That's where I work at a place. Yeah, you got a lot of downtime at your job, don't you? Like, yeah, a lot of time you could just be out killing, huh?
Well, no, but I mean, don't tell them I got downtime. That's where I watch my anime.
Getting ideas on how to kill people, I see. Yeah, watching that violent Juju Kaisers.
You're Jujitsu Conrad. That's what we're gonna call you. Fucking the anime killer.
The anime killer Jujitsu Conrad.
Damn it. Yeah, no, so like I don't know, I don't want to do that. But I will say that Halloween is coming up and I am going to watch Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I am going to rely solely on your take on it because I've watched enough Five Nights at Freddy's lore videos that I don't need any more, and I'm not going to watch this movie. So, this is the one but I'm vaguely interested in hearing the outcome.
This is the one instance I'm with you that I never played the games. I've only seen the lore videos, and it was Matt Pat. and
Yeah.
it was when I was dating my ex, and she was big into MatPat, and she would be like, "Oh, he put out a new Five Nights at Freddy's video," so we had one TV, and I didn't want to be rude, so I just sat there and
Mm-hmm.
watched it.
Yep.
I know a
It's
lot about Five Nights at Freddy's, and it has cool lore. It's just like, man, I don't want to play the games. Like,
yeah.
I
It's
it's something, right?
yeah, and it's rough to like it's rough to sort of realize that as well because you're like, uh I've spent a lot of time in this and you know, I kind of care. I know enough. I could go in and have a nuanced discussion about it.
Yeah.
But God, I don't give a shit.
I think it'll just be fun. And here's the thing. I love horror movies. If I haven't made that apparent, I love horror movies. Before that we started today's episode, I was watching Leprechaun 3, which if you don't know, a lot of people don't really think Leprechaun is like scary or like that good.
Mm-hmm.
But I love those movies because they lean into like the first one is like straight up just a horror movie. But then after that they lean into like horror comedy.
Yeah.
And Warwick Davis is just like giving it his all and he's loving it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
great. I love them. They're cheesy. They're like very low budget, but they're good.
Yeah. Leprechaun is I would argue one of the like I mean, this is said without a lot of context, so if somebody tells me that I'm wrong, I wouldn't be surprised. But Leprechaun feels like the Taco Bell of like horror movies in that they're one of the first big horror movie kind of like genre things or horror movie series. Yeah, horror movie
Oh,
series, properties, IPs to like go from like kind of like, oh, this is Leprechaun, it's a fucking scary movie, it's like this is kind of like a funny comedy thing, to immediately three movies in be like, this is Leprechaun in the Hood. And just to like, they said, fuck it, we're jumping the shark as hard as we can because you know what, nobody thinks that Leprechaun is that scary. This is just going to be a funny thing now.
well, it took a lot longer than 3 movies for them to get like max silly.
Mm-hmm.
So like Leprechaun 1, he's a leprechaun in an old house and like he's killing the people because they found his gold. And
Yeah.
then in part 2, like he's terrorizing some new people, but I think it's a new leprechaun, not the same one. The lore kind of changes every movie.
Yeah.
So like in part 1, he's just a normal leprechaun and he's going crazy. In part
Mm-hmm.
2, he starts like every time he talks, he just rhymes for no reason.
Oh, right. Yeah, God.
And that one's kind of a silly movie, but still like more on the horror side. But they crack more jokes. Part 3 is where it starts getting like, okay, he goes to Las Vegas.
Hell yeah.
And like I said, I was watching this one because this was like one of my favorites because it's silly, but like it's still like classic. So like I laughed like out loud when at this part, like he found one of the guy who took one of his gold, and he's
Mhm.
in his hotel room, and he's like up in his face, and he bites him, and he's like ah, and then the guy stabs him in the head with the knife and throws him out the window
Hell
from the
yeah.
top of a hotel, and then he lands on the floor, and then they go scene changes, and then it comes back to him barely getting up off the ground. And he pulls the knife out of his head and he looks up at the window and he's like, I should have took the elevator.
Yeah.
Like this is so stupid. But it's like a good stupid. But immediately after them being in Las Vegas, somehow the next one is in space.
Yeah.
He gets on a rocket and goes into space, and he
Yeah.
fights aliens. But that's just where the shark started jumping, because immediately after that you got Leprechaun in the Hood.
Yeah, Leprechaun in the Hood.
And then after that, you got Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Yeah, that's right. They said, you know what? Here's the thing. Whenever I feel like Leprechaun in the Hood was the first one that came out where everybody was like, okay, this is going to be probably the silliest movie of all time. Everybody has to watch Leprechaun in the Hood.
Yeah, Ice Cube is in it in the 80s, and he
Mm-hmm.
has a big afro, and he meets the leprechaun, and he's fighting it, and he pulls a baseball bat out of his afro.
Listen,
Not Ice Cube, Ice T,
Ice-T, yeah.
which he's already a silly person.
Yeah, true.
So, like, see, it makes sense for him to be here, but like, man, you just stop taking it seriously. Leprechaun is a series where you don't take it seriously; you just sit back and enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but like, I don't enjoy horror movies. They take themselves too seriously, and then the ones that don't are like really bad
Mm-hmm.
nowadays. Because like back in, I don't know what it is about schlocky horror movies. Like the really like bad ones were funny back in the day, but like if like a movie is like low budget or like badly shot nowadays, it's not like funny, right?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends. The thing is, for a horror movie to be funny, it's a very delicate balance to strike, because like to make a horror movie like scary or I don't know, I guess like something that's like kind of shocking in that way.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. Like jump scares are pretty easy. Doing something where it's like you've got to like everything is like kind of quiet, and then like the music rises. Like that's not super difficult to do. Psychological thrillers are hard, but whatever.
Yeah, but jump scares are like so lame because they're overdone.
Correct. They 100% are. But if you like the qualities that make a bad horror movie really fun to watch, like it's gotta be sort of earnest. They gotta like not be making it bad on purpose. Like it has to be incidentally really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like the movie is taking itself so seriously, and then just like you can see in the background that like, oh, this is someone's dad's office, or like this is for sure someone's apartment that they're shooting from the wrong angle, or whatever the fuck. Like it's got to be one of those things where you like notice something about it, or the acting is like the acting is okay, but it's also really bad in certain ways.
Yeah, or the costumes, or even like for whatever the monster, it's really bad. Like
Yeah.
something has to be bad, but like it's taken seriously.
Yeah.
And that's how it's not a good movie, but it's funny. It's a funny. It's so bad it's good. That's how we get into that territory. But sometimes, like I think horror especially leans into that, because horror and comedy, like it's one of those genres that mix well because of how absurd things can be. But
Man.
I just think that like nowadays I can't I just there's something about horror movies nowadays, and this is making me sound like really old, but like it's just they're not really good. Right?
Horror movies are all bad now.
Not all bad, but like they just don't have the charm of like the early 90s or the 80s. Even some like early 2000s movies. They just don't have the charm that there used to be. Because like it think about like horror movies that have come out recently. They're all about like possession, or like old demons from back in the day that like kind of haunt people, but like the Nun,
Yeah.
who like they're not like stalking people. They're like there's no new slashers. They're not stalking people. They just show up every once in a while and like scare the person. It's just back in the day there used to be like slashers, or like Freddy Krueger. He's just a guy, like a child molester that a neighborhood came together and burned him alive, and then hell gave him powers for no reason. And now
Yeah.
he kills people in their dreams.
Yeah.
Like I guess what I'm saying, like, there's no like like nuance or creativity. Like, I just saw a trailer for a movie called Thanksgiving, or it might be Thanksgiving. I'm
That
not
yeah,
sure.
hell yeah.
It's like about this. I don't know if it's a serial killer dressed as a pilgrim killing people, or an old like pilgrim demon killing people. But like
Mm-hmm.
that's coming out.
Hell yeah.
That looks fun. Not scary, but it looks fun.
Yeah, just old Pilgrim showing up and he's like, nobody better be having premarital sex in here or I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna. You've all sinned. Y'all are all witches. Just fucking.
Hell yeah.
I'm just saying, like, back in the day, some of my favorite movies were just all about this one like entity, and that was the antagonist. It was all the people like coming together to fight it, or like run from it, or like something like there wasn't a lot like overdone. Like you haven't seen nowadays a good Jason Voorhees, right? Or a good Michael
Mm-hmm.
Myers. They just keep retreading those two people, and
Yeah.
it's getting boring. Like like bring someone else new. Like
Yeah.
start something else.
I mean, a lot of that has to do, it's like, yeah, you're like the nun, like Annabelle. There's not like, I don't think there's like traditional slashers anymore. Like,
No.
oh, everybody's afraid of the boy in the wall or whatever the fuck. But like, I the last horror movie icon that like is sort of up in the annals of history feels like it's um the Scream, like Ghostface, right?
Well, two Ghostface, yeah, but his last
Mm-hmm.
movie was like the whole Scream series is a subversion of horror, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like Wes Craven did it,
Mm-hmm.
and he did it as a subversion of tropes. He was like, these are all horror movie tropes, and we're going to, uh, you know, we're gonna do something that is very tropey, but we're gonna flip the tropes, and you're not gonna see it coming. And the
Mm-hmm.
first few times they did that were fine, but now
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like y'all need to stop because like it's you could see it coming a mile away, and it's not like good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But people still go watch it, and it's still like
Yeah.
successful. Doesn't mean it's good. It's just people still watch it. But the other slasher, who I think is doing better for whatever reason, is Chucky. And he's on season 3 of his show on Sci-Fi, and it's still
Yeah.
going strong.
Yeah. I find it interesting that like we're starting to get into like horror TV shows, and I would argue the Chucky show, because I've seen a couple of clips from it, doesn't seem like it's super scary. It just seems like
It
it's kind of fun.
it's silly. It's fucking goofy. And I think I put like a thing in the Discord about it because I was talking about Chucky. But like there was like a season 2 cliffhanger of like his son, our transgender, our gender fluid kid, shitface,
Mm-hmm.
or Glenda, or whatever.
Yep. Or Glenda. Yeah. Shitface or Glenda. What a fucking plot. God.
And like he comes back, and they're in human form, and like they're fighting Chucky at this point is using like shaman powers and can split his soul into different good guy dolls that look like Chucky, and they all
Yeah.
have different personalities, and they're all like fighting. And like I don't know, like I haven't seen all of it, but like it's like some wacky shit. But the best part is they still have Brad Dourif as the voice, and like it's really strong. Like it has a good strong cast, and even though the plot's kind of like shaky, maybe it's still fun to watch. And even Jennifer
Mm-hmm.
Tilly's there.
Good old Jennifer Tilly.
Like Chucky is one of those series that I feel I'm glad we had the 3 movies at the a long time ago, and we had the seed of Chucky and the new Chucky,
Mm-hmm.
but like if we didn't get those movies, the show wouldn't have been as strong, because you'd
Mm-hmm.
just be like, well, why do we have this one killer doll? Why are we afraid of him? Well,
Yeah.
because we've seen what he's done in the past.
Yeah.
And now like we have him being like just a goofy like murder, like the slashing and the murder's still there. It's just now he's like he has time to be goofy and wacky.
Mm-hmm.
I just think,
Honestly,
yeah,
like that's sort of like that's a way to like be able to breathe new life into a into like a character, especially one that like over time has just gotten very silly. They did try to be like, hey, here's a new Child's Play movie, and it was just not. It didn't
yeah,
work that well. They went and then there's still also Chucky stuff, and Chucky stuff is better.
yeah,
And yeah, it doesn't feel like a lot of modern horror movies are sort of like conceptual or like there's a man inside of a house and his mother died and the spirit of his mother is possessing his girlfriend maybe. And
the
a lot of it is that, and it's not like there's some crazy or like some malevolent human or spirit or whatever that's like murdering a bunch of people and we have to figure out who it is and try and how to stop them. Like that doesn't seem to be so much of a thing, and it also seems like, you know, I don't know that audiences nowadays want that either. Like I don't know that if you came out with a movie that was like, oh yeah, this is a whole movie about how a guy with a fucking I don't know. This is a horror movie about a guy with a big power drill. And that's how he kills people, is with a big power drill, and his name is
drill bit Taylor.
Yep, Drill Bit Taylor. Thank you. His name is Drill Bit Taylor, and Drill Bit Taylor is coming for your ass, and he's coming for all of our asses. We've got to stop Drill Bit Taylor. I don't know that anybody nowadays is actually going to be into that. I think like most horror movie things nowadays are sort of psychological thrillers because that's more what people want,
Well,
and they see things like that as like old and silly.
here's the thing. Back then, like slashers, they weren't what weapons they used. Like Jason, he is famously wielding a machete.
Mm-hmm.
Like his name wasn't Machete Bill.
Yeah.
He was just Jason.
Yeah,
Right?
true.
He just Jason, and he has this very intricate backstory. Freddy Krueger wasn't like Scary Claw Man. He was Freddy Krueger. Like all these people, they had names other than like Scream, and he didn't even have a name until people just started calling him Ghostface.
Yeah, true.
It's just like, I think the thing is like people are like, well, if we're gonna have a horror villain, he has to have an iconic weapon, and he has to be named after the weapon. Like, that's not how it has to. It has to flow like, naturally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like you're just like, oh well, we have this one guy who's like I think that this would be like a horror movie, like an incel, where like he just reaches like his peak, and then he's like one girl one too many times, like fucking ghosted him on Tinder. So now like he's setting out to go and kill people, and like he like just intricate ways that he's just killing these people while still living a normal job, and no one knows it's him. But like this isn't like a suspense movie. He's like at like the midpoint they figure out it's him, so like he's just stalking people and he's killing them. And then at the end of the movie, he's getting him. But at the end of the movie, like he's just a normal guy, but they kill him, right? But in part two, he was so much for hell, like they gave him powers, and now he's like a zombie, like he's a zombie murder machine, and he can't stand these chads in a relationship. So now he's out to like kill like handsome, beautiful men and women. But like the going trope or joke is like, if he sees like unattractive people, he like leaves them alone. He's just like, ugh. And like so, that's just that could be a movie. That could be an iconic like horror movie, and like it has some comedy potential in there too.
Yeah, I don't think that that would work in the way that like a Freddy or Jason type character would work, because like that's a one movie and done, because once you hit like zombie man come back, it's like I don't know about that. Because at the very least it works. Like doing stuff like that works to like whenever it's sort of like this already kind of like unearthly being, you know, whenever it's already like Jason just sort of appears out of nowhere, Michael Myers just sort of like happens, you know.
Well, okay.
Okay.
So do you know about Jason? He wasn't even the killer in
In the
part
first
1.
one, yeah.
It was his mom.
Yeah.
And in part 2, he's just a guy.
Uh-huh.
He wasn't a zombie at that point. He wasn't a zombie until part 3.
Yeah.
And then he dies every movie and comes back the next one.
Yeah.
Freddy Krueger like died before the movie starts, and he's just a demon with dream powers, and everyone knows who Freddy Krueger is, but then he gets his power by people remembering him.
Yeah.
Like,
depending on the movie, yeah.
And Jason was a poor I want to say mongoloid, but like I don't know, disfigured. He had that disfigurement.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like Chunk from the Goonies as a kid. And then he became like a zombie for no reason. And Mike Myers, they fuck it. He was the worst because like he's just a guy, but like he lives somehow, and they're like, oh, evil's keeping him living, even though he's been shot like millions of times.
Yeah, he's
stabbed and shit.
Listen, evil don't give a shit about bullets. We all know.
It's just silly, right?
Yeah.
Like Mike Myers is silly, but like people go shit like crazy for it. Like I don't know why. He's just a guy like stalking people and killing them in his town, looking for his sister, Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
It's just you just gotta hit the right buttons. And I'm saying like anything can be like a slasher, or you just have to have like the right idea, and it has to click, and it has to have potential to go on for at least 3 more movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because slashers and like those like 80s slashers are never just there for 1 movie.
Mm-hmm.
They have at least 10.
Man. Yeah, I mean, listen. We could talk about this until the end of time.
Yeah.
But instead, we have to end this episode because we're already at time, Fee.
Tell them. Talk gospel, Colby. Tell them.
I'll tell them. I'll preach. You can hear this podcast being recorded live between 0 and 2 times a week at twitch.tv/GoGetUsPod. If you follow us, you'll get a notification on your phone to let you know whenever we're going live, and you can listen to this early. Otherwise, you can also, if you're in for like a little video, you want to see our very good new avatars, you can take a look at the replay. The replay comes out the same day the podcast does, which is every Wednesday. The replay comes out on our YouTube channel at 2 p.m. But if you're just into audio only, that'll also come out every Wednesday, but it'll come out at 5 a.m. That way you can, get you get something to listen to on your way to work.
Yeah, do it.
So you can also check out our TikTok and our YouTube for our YouTube shorts. They are hella good, and we put out new ones all of the ding dang time. So just get there, get to them, get subscribed, and share them with your
follow, like.
Yep, and specifically share and show this video to your friends that have the most internet clout. So if you are friends with Markiplier, show them. Show him this video and ask if which one of us he would bang. Because he for sure has an answer.
It's going to be me.
It's going to be Fee. It's true.
It's going to be me. What can I say? I got that sweet ass. So here's what I want you to do.
Tell him.
I want you to get all your favorite scary movies. I tried to do Scream.
Oh God.
Get all your favorite scary movies, Cindy. And I want you to go to your living room, get all your family, get your girlfriend, your boo, and have a good time. Put the movies on, get your popcorn, get your soda, and go get them.
Go get him. This is a very wholesome, wholesome go get him this week. Just like go have a good time. Watch some scary movies.
I mean, sometimes they got to be wholesome. I mean, look, it's already horror movie. Like, I think horror movies are like very wholesome when you watch with the group.
Like, yeah, when you watch them from the right angle. When you think about it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is just a family movie. It's a movie about family.
Well, yeah, it is about family. Leatherface and his family killing.
Yeah.
What's it called? People interloping on their yard, on their Texas chain yard.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just saying, you like to be scared in a group. You don't like to be scared by yourself. You're like, oh, and then you look around like, anyone see that?
Oh God! Whew. At least I'm just here by myself. Yeah, I will say, because of just how I am, who I am. That almost never happens. Like if I'm ever watching like a movie or whatever and I feel an emotion, something in my body says, nope, shut it down. We can't show that in front of another human. It just will not work. So usually watching a movie that's going to make me cry, I have to watch it by myself. But I'm like, that's kind of good in a scary movie situation. 'Cause you're like, I'm unfazed. I don't give a shit right now. And then inside you're like, ah!
You get up and your pants are covered in shit.
Yep, that's me. I always got doo-doo pants. That's bye everyone.
Kobe fecal shoes. That's what they call them.
Voted most likely to have 5 or 6 pairs of pants in their car for this one scenario. Bye.